Hi, this is Steve Addison, and you're listening to the Movements Podcast, the podcast for people who want to multiply disciples and churches everywhere. Today, we're talking to George Funk about his vision for No Place Left Africa.
Been involved in evangelism. There's something just in my DNA that just, has always encouraged me and motivated me to seek and save the lost and encourage others. But 2 years ago, how I got involved was I moved to Australia. So I work in Africa and I commute. I've got 4 kids, 6 grandkids here in Perth. And but don't really have to work here, but it's in your DNA, and I want to reach out. And so I got me a little warehouse, and I'm encouraging house church, multiplication, and reading different books and looking around. And then a guy by the name of Andrew Beale mentioned Colin to me, Colin Craggs. And I gave him a call and said, let's just catch up. I'm searching, I'm hungry, and I met with Colin. And it was about a month before I was leaving for Africa on a trip, one of my trips. And Colin sat with me, and we had a look at, how to go from addition to multiplication. And that was, yes, that's what I want. That's because, basically I'm stuck. We've got 15 trucks. They're traveling into Africa. We're doing great, but really we seed sowers and church planters, and that's about it. And Stucky just said, that's how I got involved. And then after that, I went on the 4 fields with you, Steve, and Russell and the guys, and it was great. And I invited another 5 guys, and just to confirm that the journey I was on was what God was wanting me to do, and the confirmation was amazing. So that's how I got involved. It's only been 2 years. I was 63 years old. 64 years old, never too old. So that's how I got involved, Steve, and it's been wonderful. I grew up rough and tough and left school and married a good woman, but slave to many habits. And at age 30, I had this business, and I was calling on a client one day, and I had problems, man. And he said, you want a Bible study? Come to my house. And I didn't really want to, but I went, and I needed God. And so I was baptized and started attending church, but I was still struggling. I had this money, I had this business, I had these habits and these addictions. It was really hard, and went to Bible school, studied for 3 years, didn't want to become a preacher or a missionary. I got myself a good paying job as assistant group treasurer of the Eltron group after studying. And then preached for a little church in South Africa, a white church still those days. But it was during that time I discovered, apartheid was starting to be done away with, 93, in 1993, and I could see tremendous opportunities among the black people. And what was happening, the whites were moving out of the big cities, and the blacks were moving in. And it was exciting. The highways, the byways, the colleges, the universities. And a lot of the whites thought it was crazy to go into the city. I saw opportunities. And so we started the downtown churches of Christ in the big cities. And then saw an opportunity. I said, we need a mobile church on wheels going around preaching the gospel. And so we built our first one in 2000. And as I say, we've got 15 of them now going into 26 countries. Preaching the gospel. We'll buy a Mercedes truck or a Hino, and it's just a truck with a chassis, and then we get a body built on it, and it's divided into 3. So as you come into an area, the middle section opens out, and it's got a baptistry full of water. It's got PA systems, generator. It's got a little sleeping quarter for the evangelists. It's got a kitchenette. It's got a 300-seater tent. With chairs and so what will happen is you go into an area, and then you have open airs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You put the big tent up, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday you have the gospel meeting with combines, And it's great for leadership training. It's great for just churches all coming together, for benevolence, for just a multitude of things. And it's great for disciple training, So our guys now use it for the Four Fields training. The drivers are all equipped in these things. So it's really a great tool. And it's exciting. Yeah, very exciting. And then we built one, and then that we started in Southern Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa now. And then we went into Southern Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Namibia, South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, all the southern part. And we just saw a tremendous opportunity. We've got 15 trucks now. We're trying to do away with some of the smaller ones. So we've got mini chariots and then the big ones. And so we've got now 15 trucks, 26 countries. The southern part of Africa, we go, all the way from South Africa right up to, I'd say Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia we're striking into. So, and then we've got in West Africa, we've got in French-speaking Benin and Togo. We've got a big one in Ghana, a big one in Nigeria, a big one in Liberia. So West Africa is really, really, the Ghanaians are very, very evangelistic. So we're working with some of the greatest leaders in Ghana, and they missionaries themselves, just spreading out, into Gambia, Guinea, the Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Liberia. It's exciting. There's one wealthy guy. I'll just tell you this quickly over here. His name's Douglas Boateng, and he's a Ghanaian, and he's very, very wealthy, and he's been in the church for many, many years. And Douglas has got a company that supplies all the fishing trawlers and all the fishing equipment for fishing in West Africa. And as his business has grown, he'll start a business in Ivory Coast or Liberia or Sierra Leone or Senegal. And as he starts a business, he'll send a missionary or two, self-supported. He'll support him and he'll start a church. And so this is tremendous. And you remember George Akpabali, who came down to our training. He's gone back and he's equipped Douglas now. So this is really exciting, and it's just exploding in West Africa. And you must remember, some of the countries over there are very Muslim. And what our African brethren are saying to us, because when you get up to Mali, Niger, Mauritania, Algeria, you can't go with a chariot. This is underground. This is where you have small cells and multiplication. And what the African brethren are saying is, Brother George, this, Four Fields, this is African. This is African, brother. And so that's, I think, the most exciting thing that and it's just multiplying, it's growing. This is a God thing. God is great. I want to tell you, I've been doing mission work. I've been a Christian 35 years, doing mission work almost 30 years. We building chariots, we saving souls, we preaching, the last 2 years, all of a sudden I'm searching, I'm looking, I'm, not content, and then eventually come in contact with, and I've been reading a lot of books. My wife, sometimes, I'm from pillar to post. I mean, one down here, one down there, and then eventually coming in contact with You Guys Move and the Four Fields training. This has brought our ministry to where we know where we are, and we know where we're going. This is exciting. And so what we see is that God has been preparing us all along. And there has been this thing missing. We just don't know how to multiply, how to look into a generational, 4 generations and beyond. What about streams? What about a movement? What about multiple movements? And so this has been I'm 66 or yeah, thank you, Lord. You can take me home. My job's done. We've introduced something that is powerful. And it's simple. And then we still have this lockdown. Steve, just try and imagine this. We've got 15 trucks. This is our ministry. This is what makes Gospel Chariot Missions. Then we have lockdown. And even today, all those trucks are parked. But God had a plan. Before that, 2 years, God starts equipping us, bringing people into our life. And so when we have this lockdown, you would think, well, Gospel Chariot is a dead ministry. No, you must see what's transpiring. We've got Zoom groups going beyond Africa even. I mean, into other countries. And it's amazing. You were with me in Africa in February. It's great. We get back home and there's lockdown. I mean, God just knew. Steve, it's hard to explain, but it's beautiful, beautiful. I can't explain. And I'm so excited. And the wonderful thing is, you see, with us, we would have been continuing to train and do seminars, but I don't think we would have been as effective as we are with online. So now when things go back together, another thing is when we do have face-to-face groups, our men are equipped because they could not, because we travel a lot. When there's no lockdown, chariots are out, and then we're in, and then we're out. So we're never really together. Well, we're having 3 months going, 4 months in lockdown. We've had time for Zooming, for training. Our driver evangelists on the trucks, they're not, they don't have degrees. They're hardcore evangelists. And it takes time to train them and equip them. Well, I want to tell you, you must hear them teach the different tools. It's beautiful. God has locked us down to prepare us even better. This is so exciting. It's really been a great experience and time. And
Well, God has given you some amazing people. Just tell us about some of them, how, as this ministry was growing, how he connected you with some key local leaders throughout Africa.
Yeah, years back I worked with some older guys, but then I soon realized that, one has to take young men and equip them and educate them. And so, there was our first chariot driver was Machona Manyamane. And I met him. He was a World Bible School student 5 hours away from Johannesburg. And those days, no cell phone. I would write letters and say, I'll meet you at the post office and have a study with him, baptized him. Then we had a little ministry in downtown Johannesburg, a church building with a little apartment on the side where we could house some students, and we'd bring a couple in and just pour our life into them and encourage them. And it was that time that Machona came in and he studied with us. And, he was on the brink of, is it going to be partying and alcohol, or is it going to be, and he actually had a friend with him named George as well. And eventually George drank himself and he passed away. But Machona chose to, come and study and then eventually work on the truck. And then Machona then went on and studied in the States and studied through Nations University. He's now back with us, one of our key leaders overseas in Southern Africa. And so he can preach 1,000,000 times better than me. He's more educated than me. But yet, it's about adding value. And then he's got a mate by the name of Dimpu Matamela. Now, Dimpu was just finishing high school, and we came in contact with him. He was studying with us through a correspondence course, and we, taught him the gospel, encouraged him. Dimpu then worked in one of our little offices, grading courses. Today, Dimpu is going to be heading up Africa, and he works out of Pretoria. And he'll have 5 other directors working with him in Africa. But just great stories, like a good, loyal men who have so much potential, who are, we really believe, Steve, to take Africans to evangelize Africa. Missionaries went over years ago. They done amazing jobs. But I tell you, the time has come, and I figured that out years back. We need to equip Africans. They can do things I can't do. They are so connected, and and extremely wise. And if we can equip them, Africa is the fastest growing continent when it comes to population wise. This is the new, I believe Africa, you give it 50 years, 100 years, who knows? It's just very exciting if you look at the possibilities, if Africa gets their leadership right, it's the next China, I believe, the next economical investment growth area in the world, really and truly. Great continent.
So, George, how would you describe, this is how things were before we shifted to the four fields, and this is what we're seeing now, different?
Yeah. One of the biggest things is equipping we're always in the harvest. We've always been, individuals that'll be out there in the marketplace preaching. But I think where things will be different is that sometimes, because from the States, we support a lot of works, and we'll start a mission. And what happens is that you're supporting an individual, but he's a good manager, but he's not a good disciple maker. So the difference now is Gospel Chariot Missions, we're a disciple-making movement. We're a movement that is moving, and anyone working with us, and we don't like to support, but sometimes you have to have key guys in key areas, and those are all four fields, disciple-making gurus. I mean, they eat, sleep, and drink multiplication. And so this is the difference, where before it was more about, let's just baptize. Let's see how many we can baptize. Let's see how we can start a church. But there's no further plan. There's no further plan of equipping the everyday member in the church. And so the difference is now is that it's for everyone, not some, everyone. Beautiful for women as well. There's a group starting now out of Uganda. So let me just tell you this quickly. So in Uganda, we've got Duncan. You've met him. We've done a 4 fields up there. His wife, Maxie. And then he's got Lucy, who was also on the course. And Lucy's great. So Lucy is just, man, she's part of our training every Saturday, our church every Sunday. Lucy's just a fireball. So then what we decided is there's another one coming out of Namibia, a young lady. So we said, let's start a ladies group. Well, this last Friday, 25 ladies met, even one from the US. So yes, this ladies movement, the church is starting to realize that, wow, there's power in women. And so, I just saw an email this morning. Some are going to be baptized this week from the ladies from Maxie's group. So it's just, so the difference is we now go, it's about multiplication. It's a way of life. And it's the equipping and, just being intentional, because the stuckage comes in where we were stuck is we would reach out. We baptize about 3,000 souls a year, 3,000 souls, and start about 30 churches. But the churches aren't multiplying, because it's pressure on a church. How can we start a church? It's going to cost money. Do we trust that young leader over there? Well, with 4 fields training, it's about releasing people and having faith in people. And so it's that it really just helps everyone understand that we got to disciple others. And the beautiful thing about this is that the 4 fields training actually exposes you. It exposes you when you get to the iron on iron or the leadership tool, it will expose you. So it really brings the best out of each and every evangelist. And sometimes we're not there because we don't know what we don't know. So I think in my own life, I've been so stuck. And, I've just seen now wives, evangelist wives are becoming so much more evangelistic. I even look at my own wife. We walk the dog twice a day. Ria walks the dog in the morning and me in the afternoon late. And, she's just inviting people and connecting with people. And she's an introvert of note. But yet she is connecting 1,000,000 times more than she used to. And it's not that I'm pushing it on her. I don't sit her down and train her. But she hears and she knows and she sees. So it's beautiful, yeah. It's always been a challenge to start a church. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. And with the disciple-making, thinking and multiplication, people are more willing to start a small group. And don't call it, and the way I'm seeing things, it's not, let's start a new church. It's, hey, let's start a small group. Let's start a Bible study group. Let's start a discovery Bible study. You see, but yet that is a church start right over there. And so it takes the pressure off that evangelist or that individual. Another thing is what's different is that you don't need people. And why this is happening is because has he been to a Bible school? Has he been trained up properly? Now it's like, it's okay. We just work within the 4 fields of discovery. It's simple. And so that is, and that is powerful. That is very, very, because the quickest way to evangelize the world is plant a church. And so we have Africans, brethren in Africa, they walk 10 kilometers to get to a church building. They'll walk over a mountain. When I was in Kenya just this last year, one elderly 85-year-old guy came up front after teaching, and he got on his knees and he was crying, and he said to the brethren, please help me start a small group, a church in my house. I'm going to die. I want to leave something for my family, for my community. Well, after I left, they planted a church, and he just passed away this year. But there's a church over there, a small group. So people are more willing, because it's not that pressure. We're going to start a church and it has to be a big one, or it has to be a building. It's like, let's just start these little fires for Jesus. And now online, it's just spreading. Beautiful. Sure. I've always believed in Africans evangelizing Africa, and but all the vision has come from me. It's all, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. And from the new year, what's happening is that you have that model, assist, watch, and leave. Well, I've assisted. I'm going to go through 5 years. It'll be 4 years till I'm 70. I'm just going to be watching. I'm not going to be. You're going to have Dimpu as the African director. You're going to have George Akpabali in West Africa. He's the West African director. You've got Duncan Ojambo in Uganda. That's going to be working Central Africa, directing that. Tom Oponda, East Africa in Kenya, and then Machona in Southern Africa. And so what's going to be happening from the new year, no more dreaming from me. I'm going to be taking this internationally, see where I can. So I'll keep busy. The biggest problem when people try to step aside is they interfere. So I don't want to enter, but I have to keep myself busy. So I'm going to try to take it internationally. But at the same time, every month I'll be meeting and listening to the vision from the different areas. Next Monday is another. It's where each region shares their vision. So I hope I'll be able to keep quiet and just listen and watch, but let the Africans dream, and I believe they'll take it.
Well, if you're enjoying the Movements podcast, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps. I'm Steve Addison for the Movements podcast.